In modern times, nobody has monopolized NASCAR racing like Bill Elliott. He has raced around this season faster than a person throwing double sixes, winning 9, including 2 of the 4 most important spaces on the board. Win 3, and you'll amass a bonus fortune of $1 million. His first move in this quest began in February. A month he dominated, winning the pole, his qualifying race, and the Daytona 500. He had begun to build a monopoly, and the other players could see Elliott was taking this game seriously. The banker got busy. The Elliott's already reinvesting for the next race. Next space on the $1 million board, the world's fastest racetrack, Talladega. With the power that ownership of all the railroads and utilities brings, Bill is blasting away again. Then there was this, a temporary derailment, a simple broken oil line. Bill spends 2 laps in the pits, but he comes out smoking 2. Miraculously, he makes up the lost time without the aid of yellows. Alabama Avenue is paved with success too. His second win of the designated 4 Crown Jewel races is worth $100,000, a walk along the boardwalk. Next, the contest revolves to Charlotte, the World 600. Only May. Already, he's on the brink of banking $1 million. There he continued his relentless exhibition of speed. Again, the pole. But there would be no North Carolina Avenue to victory lane. Bill leads, building valuable points, but the brakes just didn't go his way. As a matter of fact, they went completely away. Soon it was Park Place City for the Elliots, temporarily parked behind the pit wall. The chance for the Winston Million would have to wait until another day. Bill has called it the worst week of his life. Ironically, his closest pursuer in points, Darrell Waltrip, topped off the biggest weekend of his career with his only win so far this year. Now that day is here. Time to roll the dice again. Will Bill Elliott pass go and earn the Winston Million? ESPN this weekend, entering its 7th season as your #1 auto racing network, presents Auto Racing 85. The Darlington International Raceway, and we are very proud to present to you the 36th running of this fabled old race. The Southern lineup plus a lot of local bad weather this week is kind of bothering the teams right now, so we're going to the row assignments. Bill Elliott sits on the pole, not a brand new track record. On the outside, the legendary David Pearson. In row number 2, Benny Parsons on the inside and Joe Ruttman. Bad luck, Joe Ruttman on the outside. Row number 3, the 5th and 6th position, Dale Earnhardt, last week's winner, and here again on the outside. The 4th row, Darrell Waltrip and Tim Richmond out of Ohio. The 5th row, Terry Labonte, defending champion, and Greg Sachs, winner at Daytona. And in 11th and 12th position, Greg Sachs and, there you go, Ricky Rudd in row 6, followed by Tommy Ellis. Row number 7, Phil Parsons and Rusty Wallace. Row number 8. There'll be, of course, 40 cars starting this race. Morgan Shepherd getting one of his infrequent Grand National rides, followed by Buddy Baker, Jeff Bodine, Lake Speed. The 10th row, Ron Bouchard, Bobby Hillen Jr. 11th row, Neil Bonnet, Cale Yarborough. Row number 12, Bobby Allison and Richard Petty. The 13th row, Kyle Petty and the legendary A.J. Foyt. Row number 14, Dave Marcus and Tommy Houston out of the late model sportsman ranks. The 15th row, Pancho Carter and Trevor Boys. Row number 16, H.B. Bailey and Ken Schrader. The green flag is anticipated this past 5 by the front stretch. The 1985 Southern 500 is underway. The entire field of 40 cars passes under Harold Kinder around turn 1 and turn 2. No incidents at this point of the race. This is a treacherous racetrack. And as we've become accustomed to see, the red and white number 9 of Bill Elliott is the leader. That is Benny Parsons, our broadcasting colleague, right now running in 2nd position.
Watch when we get down into turn number 1 here. It looks like Earnhardt can't get through this turn just as well. Well, he makes a liar out of me now. Look at that. He goes to the high side and just crawls all over the rear bumper of Bill Elliott.
It brings up some interesting race strategy that no other race driver in the history of automobile racing has ever faced. Does Bill Elliott, considering what's at stake, move over and let Dale go by?
I don't think so. You're looking at two tough race drivers right there. The new breed taking over here in the 36th annual Southern 500 with Elliott out front. He sees $1 million in his rearview mirror, and when you take a look at Dale Earnhardt, he doesn't care if they're paying $5 to win or $5 million. He just races for the front.
And we cannot overemphasize Earnhardt. You see smoke in the right rear that time, really whistling her into number 1. We can't overemphasize how much every single lap, every turn of the wheel, you are over the edge here at Darlington. It's only a 2-lane racetrack at best.
Earnhardt is just climbing all over the number 9. He goes to the inside, and look at that. Now, I'll tell you what happened there. Actually, Elliott let him get by. He saw the traffic and said, look, if you're going to run this loose, I'm going to give you the lead. I've got too much at stake, and we're only 15 laps.
A major crash here at the Darlington International Raceway. That is Phil Parsons sitting silently on the inside of turn number 4. Phil and Rusty Wallace were the two principals involved in this. They were battling for 12th and 13th positions. Phil Parsons, the younger brother of Benny Parsons, who worked with us yesterday up here in the booth. There is Rusty. There's another shot of Rusty sitting silently along the outside of turn number 4. Here's what happened as they came off of turn number 4.
Well, you can see they both got together in the high side there. It looked almost like a rear-ender, and from the looks of the skid marks further on back, they were just wedged up there in that old treacherous Darlington high side. But watch the defensive driving there by, well, actually it was Neil Bonnet and Richard Petty. They went to the inside and got by.
Well, good news from the pit area. Rusty Wallace, whose car you're looking at right now, is out of the car, apparently in good shape. And also,
while you take a look at what was racing up front, let's look a couple of laps ago. You want to see some fantastic driving. Benny Parsons on the outside trying to gather it in. See him sawing the wheel back. He's trying to stay off the concrete barrier. Around the 49 car of Trevor Boyes, he lets him get by. Directly in front of him, 3 or 4 cars get around Lake Speed, and there goes Dave Marcus. But he gathers it back in, and that's how quick you can lose a couple of spots here. Just
Are you concerned about the pace that Bill is setting early on? No, we're not running too hard right now. Okay, we got problems. We got problems, and Ernie Elliott and the crew are going to have to get busy with the crash on the speedway, and we'll move back out of the Coors pit.
It was a tire that went away. I heard it, Jack. It's H.B. Bailey.
And boy, this is just another installment in a litany of bad crashes for this gentleman from Houston, Texas. He walloped the inside retaining wall just a couple of times. I think it was last race here in the Southern 500. Score another one for H. Actually, well, look at that. Here's H.B. Bailey coming out of the car. Maybe we were a tad premature. No, he's moving. It looks like he just needed some help out. The rescue crews have gone to his assistance. And we'll see if he can make his way down that banking to the service personnel that are awaiting him.
Yeah, if you're a little woozy, that's a job in itself. I mean, we are talking about a 21-degree bank here, and as you can see, it walks you down the bank by yourself if you're not careful.
Neil Bonnet, as they go into 3, he's going to try, and there's a good example, Larry, of even though a driver may have a shot on the guy, Harry Gant had a good shot at Neil Bonnet. He saw that corner coming up and backed out of the throttle because you cannot pass going into the corner, especially 3.
Bonnet right now is driving for all he is worth because he knows exactly the situation he is in, that he may go 1 lap down to the leader Gant. He would like to hold Harry back as long as he can. He's hoping for a yellow flag. You see Harry right on his bumper, bumping Neil, staying with him, coming out of turn number 2, letting Neil go, and I want to get by.
Well, Gant's trying to get a run, a solid run, down into 3. There's exactly what he did. Now, look, Bonnet's going to go back on the inside, trying to get it back. They're working out of turn 4, and Bonnet's got it. Look, whoa, almost into the wall comes Harry Gant. He bangs into Bonnet, and look at Earnhardt going to the inside.
3 abreast going into the number 1 corner. Earnhardt on the inside going for the lead, and Harry Gant is pushed back to second. Now he'll try the inside of Dale coming out of turn number 2. Earnhardt in that very dangerous high groove. He gets around, and Harry Gant is still squirming a bit.
A little retribution cost Harry Gant the lead momentarily. Well, I don't know, but he's getting it back from Earnhardt going into 3. Moves Earnhardt up just a tad, gets back in line, and he's back in front.
Now, who says that Dale Earnhardt, by the way, with the red wheels he's borrowed them from somebody, is He's the only guy who can play contact sports. The respect that everybody has for this racetrack. And we've got trouble. Clark Dwyer spinning coming off of turn number 4. This will really help everybody who has lost ground to Harry Gant during this green flag pit stop. Dwyer getting in trouble near where he did yesterday afternoon in practice, Jack.
You know, you've got to question if maybe it's just a mental miscue that makes that happen to a youngster like Clark Dwyer. You know, you're wrestling inside these 3,700-pound race cars. And, you know, it's real tough to keep it all together. Let's take a look. See, well, he's already well into it. He's got the brakes locked up pretty close to where H.B. Bailey crashed but a year ago, but he keeps it up against that retaining barrier on the inside, dents and dings the sheet metal, and that's a tough break for that kid from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Shorter between first and second spot. Earnhardt is definitely moving in Yarborough. There goes Yarborough. Earnhardt. Here comes Elliott. The first 3 positions have visually tightened up over the last 3 laps. Earnhardt is now coming on like a rocket ship. That distance, which was 30 cars, is now shrunk to about 15. And I still contend there is smoke coming from both of the cars in front of Bill Elliott.
That smoke is so difficult, though, to tell just indeed if it's affecting performance on these machines. You know, when you run 500 miles, so many little pieces and parts can come loose, and you can begin to have some liquid spill out from so many various and sundry places under the race car. And right now, look at Earnhardt. He is just closing the margin between he and the leader, Cale Yarborough. This battle is going to go right down to the wire.
Cale Yarborough, who dropped out of the Michigan race after winning at Talladega. And we've got a spin in turn number 2. It's Earnhardt. And right in front of Elliott, and Elliott misses him. Boy, that was close. Bill Elliott almost saw the $1 million go away on the backstretch. Wow. Whoa. Yellow flag will come out. Earnhardt with damage to the front end. It finally caught up with him, and this will move Bill Elliott right to the back bumper of Cale Yarborough. Is this the chance that he's been waiting for?
Let's take a look at this. Dale Earnhardt very loose in the corner. You can see it begin to break traction. It starts to come around on him. He just doesn't have the opportunity to get it straightened back up. He's got full lock on the brakes. Does 1-360. He still hasn't let loose of the brakes. There he does now. He's clipped the wall, however. Locks him back up again. Wow. Boy, Elliott came close.
Well, Bill Elliott made the right decision. Normally, Jack, a race driver will point at where a car is because he thinks that's his best shot. And if a car is sliding, I go at him where he is right now. He'll be gone when I get there. But no, Bill Elliott elected to go to the low side.
Watch Elliott come into your picture. Down low, sneaks by him, almost gets clipped on a rear bumper, but he doesn't.
And he's coming in for a pit stop. So Bill Elliott is making a change. They're going to the right side tires this time. Remember the last time he changed the left side rubber. He and Cale Yarborough, along with Harry Gant, who is limping, will be the only 3 cars on the lead lap. So this will not hurt Bill's position on the racetrack.
Let's go down to Dick Berger and for
Back to green. We'll go back upstairs.
Green flag. Southern 500 once again underway at top speed. You know, when you first learn how to drive, your father, whoever your instructor is, tells you to just push on that accelerator like you're standing on an egg. And I would imagine that's exactly what's going on in Bill Elliott's mind. And here comes Cale.
Cale goes down to the inside. Does he have enough room? Into 3. Yes, he's clear. Back up into the groove. But look at Elliott. Elliott dips downstairs. He says, nothing doing, Cale. I want the spot back. Not enough.
Yarborough sideways off of turn number 4. Elliott is right on his back bumper. There's Jeff Bodine in the white and yellow number 5. Bodine running 4th position in the race. Heavy-duty smoke coming out. Looked like from Bodine that time, but that definitely looked like tires.
But boy, here's the contest up front for the front position in the 36th annual Southern 500. Yarborough trying to play the rabbit. Bill Elliott playing the hound. He's got $1 million up for grabs, and one guy from nearby Sardis. And oh no! An engine, it looks like it's gone away on Cale Yarborough. And look at Elliott go down on the apron trying to get around.
Bill Elliott with some very anxious moments. Fortunately for him, the entire field behind him senses the situation and let him go. Bill Elliott once again averts disaster by mere inches and just fractions of a second.
And some heads-up driving. Listen to the crowd. Look at this replay. You want to talk about some heads-up driving. Cale Yarborough beginning to accelerate, pulling around Bill Elliott, and there it goes. The telltale plumes of smoke. But watch Elliott. Look at Elliott.
Now, what
He's
are you
still
doing
looking
here?
for some beautiful driving here. Goes down on the apron here, Larry, and tries to hold on. Now watch Cale. He starts to come back down, and he sees everybody coming and says, "Whoa, I'm going to hold on to it." Lets Elliott by. I think Elliott was thinking $1 million.
And back at Darlington, Cale Yarborough pits. No definitive answer yet as to what might be the problem, but it does not look like a blown engine.
Well, if it was a blown engine, he couldn't have come in under his own power. But remember, at the Winston 500, the problem that befell our current leader, Bill Elliott, an oil fitting came loose and cracked, and they had to replace it. Maybe, and I repeat, maybe that might have been just exactly what happened.
Near the car owner for Cale Yarborough. Harry, what was the smoke for?
Well, he just blew a power steering hose, and they had to plug the thing off. So virtually Cale's driving, against the pump right now, and I don't know whether he can drive the car to be competitive or not.
But the car itself is running okay, just without power steering.
The car's running fine. It's just that he doesn't have any power steering.
Well, Cale's the kind of little fullback that can just manhandle that car. Hopefully he'll be able to.
We'll know soon.
Well, that's Harry Ranier.
Looking for green
He
flag.
was trying to give a signal to Buddy Baker, "Hey, let me through. I'm the leader." Buddy obliged very nicely. And boy, watch the car through the corners, Larry. Just like the drop of the green flag, it's handling magnificently.
And they go too abreast in front of him. His heart must be in his head, in his mouth. And Tim Richmond's hood is beginning to blow up. One of the pins holding down the hood on Tim Richmond's car, the cotter pins, has loosened up, and Richmond had some vision blocks as he came down the front stretch that time.
And if he's not careful, he'll be wearing an walking off.
And that's a dangerous moment.
Just flew right off. But boy, if he'd had not bad luck today, he'd have no luck at all. He's had a litany of problems, hasn't
That
he?
could bring about yet another caution flag, depending upon where that hood landed coming off the... Yeah, there it is. The yellow flag is out.
And there's the remains of Tim Richmond's hood, laying just between the groove and the infield apron. So a tough afternoon for Richmond, and another respite for Bill Elliott. He hasn't had a chance yet to count that million.
And a big sigh of relief because he now moves to the head of the line on the outside.
Watch this replay now. The hood pin coming loose, and there goes. And watch how close it comes to Buddy Baker. Up and over Baker. It got about 25, 30 feet in the air. How'd you like to be traveling at about 150 miles an hour and see that coming up at you?
That hubcap is still close, but Elliott has 2 laps to go and 1 victory to pick up 3 of those 4 crown jewel races.
You know those butterflies that before felt like bullets? Well, you can be sure right now in the pit of Bill Elliott's stomach they feel like anvils, because he knows he's got only less than 2 laps to go to victory lane.
Bill Elliott, the man from Georgia, the man that nobody saw coming 5-6 years ago. They begin to see some sparks 2 years ago, and last year you could see that the embers were there for a great, great NASCAR career. The white flag is coming up this time around. You can see the fans urging him on. Bill Elliott has just 1.366 miles to go. Elliott around turn number 1. There's Ernie Elliott, the man who makes all the decisions down in the pit area. Elliott is out of turn number 2. He's down the backstretch. Bill Elliott, at this historic old race plant, is running in the tire tracks of people like Johnny Mance, who won the first race back in 1950 here. Bonnie Flop, Buck Baker. Bill Elliott is racing into the record books. Bill Elliott is going toward immortality. Bill Elliott gets the checker flag. Bill Elliott has won an additional $1 million in 1985. What a moment in auto racing history. Bill Elliott has won a bonus of $1 million. He's well on the road to winning additional $1 million in race winnings alone. If he wins the points championship, that's another $275,000. To join with you and to experience this moment. Hopefully many of you have this on VCRs back home, because this is the kind of moment that you're going to want to share with your entire family. There he is, Bill Elliott, savoring the spoils of victory, and a well-deserved victory it is. Getting into the car with Ned Jarrett for the special victory lap in the pace car to give you an opportunity to listen to something that they'll put together over the winter.
I got my start when I was just 17, driving a car on my daddy's race team. A 63 Fairlane got me my start. The way the car ran, I might as well left it parked. Things got even worse. In 76, with a Torino Ford, it couldn't be fixed. But now things are different. The crowd's roar is heard when I pass the stands in my new Thunderbird. I'm Wild Bill Elliott, a crazy racing man. I'd like to live up to John Wayne if I can. I'm driving my best when I make them tires burn, and I still give her hell when I hit my last turn. The press thinks I'm country and name me Huck Finn, but if Elton John's country, that's the group I'm in. I fly my own plane, and when I'm in the clouds, think how that Winston Cup would make my family proud. Wild Bill Elliott, crazy racing man.
Bill Elliott is continuing to have a lot of fun down there in Victory Lane, and Dick Bergen is right there to join in.
And this is the happiest victory lane perhaps of all time. Bill Elliott, the $1 Million Man, how does it feel?
I don't know. I think it'll settle in sometimes next week. I can't believe it.
What were you thinking on the last few laps when it came so close?
I just said keep my cool and do what I always do, and it worked out.
What are you going to do with all this money?
I have no idea. I ain't going to worry about it.
You're obviously a very happy man.
No doubt about it.
The entire audience is standing cheering for you, Bill. How does that make you feel?
Very good. I'll tell you what, I drove my tail off all day long, and the car just wasn't right, and things just kept happening and worked out my way.
There's a gentleman right over the shoulder of you. The man is Jerry Long. He's the chief executive officer and president of the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, and he's got a pretty good-sized check that I think he'd like to present to you. Mr. Long?
Carlson's
On behalf
suit
of
on today
Winston,
that saved her life.
we want to present the greatest driver that we've seen in a long time, and we couldn't be more happy to present Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, Georgia, $1 million, and he earned every penny of it.
Where's the champagne bottle?
And falling down are dollar bills, $1 million bills, apparently for Winston. Bill?
I'll tell you what, I couldn't believe it. When Winston put the money up last November or December, I couldn't believe that I'd be the one that was able to get it. I'll tell you what, I can't believe it.
We're just surrounded by it. This is absolute pandemonium here. The entire grandstand is still standing. Photographers are ready. The emotion of the moment is hard to describe. Mr. Long, your feelings? I think our feelings are that this is the greatest moment in sports anywhere. I think we're any athlete that ever went through what Bill Elliott went through and won $1 million. Nobody's ever done. And as Bill said before, there's nothing like being the first. We don't know whether it'll be a second, but we have $1 billion bill right now.